Hello, sixth grade families. Hope you are doing well. I am here today with Mr. Johnston to talk about some things that you can expect next year as you move out of the grammar school and into the upper school. This year in sixth grade, your life has been spent in one classroom primarily, except when you've been at home. But when you were here at school, you were in one classroom with one teacher. That begins to change next year as you move to the upper school. Mr. Johnston?
Thank you guys for joining us. I want to start by letting you know that I spent some time this morning praying for you guys as parents and you as students specifically during this time and during this transition. So we do trust that the Lord will guide and direct us as we continue on. But as we deal with multiple classes throughout the day, it provides a lot of good opportunities that students have. As you have multiple classes, you experience a variety of teachers. You get exposed to different teaching styles and methods. And each individual student will enter the process of where they're developing their own learning style and method as well. So I want to let you guys know that our classroom teachers have helped create a phenomenal community that takes place over in the 7th and 8th grade. One of the biggest differences that you guys will see with the different classrooms comes by way of communication. Miss Ezell, how do you guys communicate regularly over here?
Well, in the grammar school, you have received a Tuesday folder, and you also have the planner that you have signed through the years in the grammar school. And then one teacher primarily, the homeroom teacher, Miss Henson, this year has been the primary means of communication with you. So you've received communication from one teacher, from the Tuesday folder, and then from the planner. Now that begins to shift as students have multiple teachers in the upper school. Is that correct, Mr. Johnston?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And instead of getting communication from one central source, you'll get communication from the various teachers regarding the individual students in that class. So just because you don't hear something from one of your classes, but you hear something from other your classes, that's not a neglection. They're not neglecting you. It's not something that's better or worse. It's just the observations that those teachers are having for how they can best help you and support you with their individual classrooms. But the takeaway from this is that if you aren't hearing enough, or if you want to hear more about how your student is doing in one class, please reach out to that classroom teacher. Ask them what they're doing, how their child is doing, and what more your student can do to ensure that they are a successful learner in that class.
When will students find out what classes they're taking next year?
That's an excellent question. As we go through the summer, we'll be putting those schedules together for you, but you guys will receive those schedules at the open house. That's going to be at the very beginning of the school year, a couple days before classes actually start. During that time, we'll be able to meet again. You'll get your class schedule. You'll be able to take a walk through your typical day. You'll be able to see your lockers. You'll be able to meet your teachers. You'll be able to get a variety of class lists that you will get during that time. But that won't happen until the open house. Miss Ezell, do you guys have lockers over here?
We do not have lockers. We have desks. And so students kept all their stuff in a desk. Now, in walking through the sixth grade classroom, I did notice that some desks were much more in order than other desks. Mr. Johnson, do you think keeping things in order should be a priority as they move over to 7th grade?
Yes, definitely. Excellent point. Glad you brought that up. As 7th graders go through a developmental transition, they lose a lot of organizational skills. One of the things that ensures their success during this time is going to be an increased system of structure and organization. Even if that is forced upon a student who that doesn't occur to naturally, that is one of the marks of being successful. Your locker should be neat and orderly. You guys are not allowed to write on your lockers with markers. You cannot decorate your lockers with tape. You can use magnets, and you can get little portable whiteboards that you can put on your lockers, and you can do that. But students, you have to know that your locker is your space. You cannot go into another person's locker for any reason. That is their space, and that is for both your protection and for their protection as well.
And I've heard that there's homeroom in the upper school as well. Tell us about homeroom.
Yes, so every morning starts with a homeroom. It's either about 7 to 12 minutes. It is divided up between a girls' homeroom and a boys' homeroom. So all the 7th grade boys will be having a homeroom with the 8th grade boys, and that's going to be led by Mr. Gant. The 7th grade girls will have a homeroom, and the 8th grade girls will have a homeroom. It is safely segregated to foster conversations and relationships that are suitable for those groups. And it is an excellent time for students to start building relationships with their middle school teachers.
In the grammar school, if parents want to know what their student has for homework, they look in the planner. But if not everyone's using planners, or some teachers use it more than others, is there a way parents can know for sure what their students have for homework in the upper school?
We use our system for Parents Web, and on that you have access to all of the assignments for all of your students' classes, and you also have access to all of their grades for all of their classes as well. To help with that, you guys will be getting weekly progress reports sent home once a week, so that you can see how your child is doing in each of these classes, if they have any missing assignments, if there's things to be made up in that process. But all of that is going to be done online. If you have questions on how to access that, then Mrs. Sotella will be the one that you can talk to, and she'll be able to walk you through how to do that. And her email address, along with several others of our email address, will be posted below where you could get access to that.
Yes, and that is one thing you'll definitely want to access. You may not be in the habit of doing that, because in the grammar school, like we said earlier, with just one teacher, it's a little bit more easy to access what's for homework because you have one teacher. But with the multiple teachers and helping students keep track of that, you'll definitely want to check Parents Web regularly and help the student, especially as they're first entering 7th grade, keep up with the different assignments that they have for different classes. So Parents Web and accessing that will be important as you move to the upper school.
Miss Ezell, I was wondering also, how do you guys deal with cell phones in the grammar school? Are there a lot of cell phones in the grammar school?
Here and there, I've seen some, but students aren't allowed to have cell phones out in the grammar school until after school. But many, especially the 6th graders who have played sports and been traveling, some of them do have cell phones. What about in the upper school?
When it comes to cell phones, and I'm gonna group in with that social media as well, because this is the stage in their life where they're starting to get a little bit more freedom and they're starting to want to express themselves. Cell phones and social media have increased to be a major contributing factor, if not the number one contributing factor, to a student's social, emotional, physical, educational, and even spiritual health and development of the child. We had a senior this past year who did their theses on the effects of social media on teenagers in the classroom. And it was just absolutely astounding to recognize the dangers that are surrounded with that. I was reading just the other day that 1 out of every 5 girls and 1 out of every 8 boys is targeted by a predator online before the age of 12. Now, oftentimes we think that in Christian communities that's not the case, but the studies have shown that it is even more so the case in Christian communities because we are such a trusting community. We trust our friends, we trust our kids, and we trust our friends' kids. And we should, because we have a unity with each other as brothers and sisters in Christ. But I want you guys to know that the devil is out there lurking as a lion, and he is seeking whom he may devour. And so much of that happens on social media. I would like to make available to you guys upon request that seniors paper. So please shoot me an email. Again, you can see the email address below if you would like access to that. It gives sources and documentations and even some recommendations for how to help monitor and help each other monitor this platform, this social media. There's so much good that can come out of it, and this interview and video is an effect of that. But so many times, particularly in 7th grade, we see that the bad far outweighs the good. So we do have a pretty strict cell phone policy, and that is that cell phones will be collected if they are seen, if they are heard, if they are used. That's either during a class time, in between class times, at break, at lunch, at school events, on a bus. And that's for the protection of the students, and also to teach them how to socialize with the people next to them instead of behind a screen to them, because everything that we do is in the context of a relationship, and that relationship is face to face. It's not on a screen. So we are very mindful and careful of that. I'll talk to you guys more about that in the future as often as it comes up. Because it comes up a lot with 7th graders, so I want to let you guys know now. But please reach out. We are here to help with anything regarding that and to give you guys some ideas for how to better monitor. And even talk to the parents in your community, because a lot of the parents are on this and have good ideas and have been very successful with this as well. I think, Mrs. Ezell, your oldest, Andy, has the best cell phone policy that I've ever heard. Can you describe his approach to cell phones?
Well, it started with him not getting a cell phone until late 11th grade, and he even now doesn't use it, and he's not on any social media. He just doesn't see the need in that. But he definitely waiting to give him a cell phone has helped him handle it more responsibly as an 11th and 12th grader. So for us, it was just a matter of him not having that distraction or temptation in his life. So, and still we require as parents that he plug his cell phone in downstairs in the kitchen to charge it rather than keeping it upstairs in his room at night and such. So definitely check out the paper that Mr. Johnston referenced. It was written by Kate Sims, Miss Sims' daughter, and it has a lot of helpful thoughts and advice in it. Please do consider these things, and again, if you have questions, reach out to us. We are glad to help and come alongside you as we help our students grow into followers of Christ.
Yeah, I want to close by letting you guys know that our 7th and 8th grade teachers have been intentional about fostering a caring family community with the 7th and 8th grade. It looks a little bit different than it does over in 6th grade, but a lot of those things carry over. The love that they have for your students as rising 7th graders goes very deep, and what they will do for your student is very exceptional, especially during this transition phase. So we're big on community, we're big on family. The Covenant family does not end in the grammar school, it continues on as we grow and develop with our students, processing through that.
And finally, I would like to let you know that we will be having a 6th grade graduation for you. We want to have a time to honor the years that you've spent in the grammar school and your time here, and to look back. Your teachers from the grammar school want a chance to spend time with you and recognize you and send you off to the upper school. In looking at the best time for that, we thought later would be better than sooner this summer, just in a time that we could all gather together. So we're looking at July 31st, which is the Friday right before we have open house the following week. So it really is a send-off. Right before you go to 7th grade, we'll gather and have a time to remember the work that you've done in the grammar school and honor that, and then send you off to 7th grade. Ms. Henson will be reaching out to you with more details about that, so be watching for that. But we will have a 6th grade graduation at that time. So more information will come about that in the near future, so do be watching for that. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful summer, that you enjoy your families and enjoy being together, and we will look forward to seeing you later in July, moving into August. Thank you.